Hey guys, we're back here on episode 3 with Growing Up, and I'm here with Brian
Hello.
and Paul,
Hello.
and I'm here to talk about what family means to us. Um, I guess we'll start out with Brian.
All right. So, family to me is anyone you choose to surround yourself with that promotes positive vibes. They take care of you, like it develops your mental health, physical health, whatever. Family doesn't have to be like your blood relatives because I have a couple blood relatives I don't get to see often. So, what's the line between them and family? Um, yeah, family can be anyone, including your friends, neighbors, people you work with, maybe. Yeah, that's family to me.
So, do you think like does it have to be a blood relative in order to be family? I mean, in order to no. Okay, so what I'm saying is like, do they have to be blood related for you to treat them as family?
No, I mean, I would. I treat everyone. I try to treat everyone with respect, like like a basic level of respect at first, even with strangers, and then once you develop like a closer relationship, then it gets a little bit closer and like a little bit more thoughtful, I guess. So like, uh, my mom's side, they're from Korea, and a lot of the relatives I have there, like, we like barely know each other because I don't get to see them that often. But I still like treat them with like family, like standard family, like how you would treat your cousins or whatever. But I wouldn't really consider them family because like I don't get to see them consistently, or we don't have any like personal like feelings within each other. Like, yeah, I guess.
It's kind of like you don't know anything about them, right?
Yeah.
So
If
it's
I
like-
knew them, then I mean that's
Right.
cool.
All right. Yeah. What about you, Paul?
What's family?
Yeah.
Such a hard thing to kind of configure as what do you constitute as family? I mean, family is, it can be anyone really. I mean, I consider a lot of my friends family. But I feel like if you're blood related, then that's your family. I mean, I know with my mom and her situation, I mean, she was adopted at 7, so she hasn't seen her biological dad and a lot of that family in like 40 plus years, so would you still consider them family? Yeah, for sure, but I think you got to see them a lot for them to become your family, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously friends, if you're like really close friends, is considered family for sure. I think growing up within your said family is such a blessing, and it's almost kind of underrated to have. It's almost underrated to have immediate family really close by,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to say that I wish I had, my family really close, but that's just not my reality. My grandparents live in Connecticut, and then my other grandparents live in Costa Rica, so it's like, I don't get to see them all that often.
Yeah.
So in that sense, like, they kind of missed out on my childhood and such, but you gotta make up for it with your own parents and immediate family you have close by. But I don't know, what's your take on it? I mean, what's the like about like Korean families? I mean, how often do you get to see your grandparents?
So that's
And like, what's your relationship with them? Is it?
Yeah. So like bringing up grandparents, because in my mind, it's a little scuffed, but I think of family as immediate family.
Right.
Like I don't recognize that my grandparents and my uncles are part of my immediate family until I like actually think about it.
Right.
And it's like now that I'm older, I realize what I missed before, because before my grandparents lived here, both sides, and I grew up with them as a kid, and as a kid you don't mindfully know what how much they love you or how much or what they do for you
Mm-hmm.
behind the scenes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't think about that as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I'm, like 19 turning 20 next in 2 months,
Right.
like I think about it, and there's a lot of times where there's like memories of like my grandparents. Like I'm pretty sure Brian will remember this, but like my dad's side
Yeah.
grandparents, they like taking us out. They like
Right.
taking
Jack in
us
the
to
Box.
go eat,
Yeah.
and they like so like the most like memorable experience that I had with them is we would grab food like burgers or whatever,
Yeah.
and we would go in their minivan and go into like a Target parking lot or something, and we would just eat like with all the doors open like on a summer day, so it was like
Yeah.
really chill, like there was a breeze.
Yeah.
And we would just eat and have a good time, and then we'd go to Target and like just run around and just do whatever, right?
Right. Yeah.
And like that's like the happiest memory of like my childhood that I can like say like
With your grandparents.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now like along the way, like they've seen me grow up, and they like when I got my first job, like I used my first paycheck to take them out to eat because of how many times they took me
Mhm.
out as a kid, and paying that back and kind of showing that I'm growing up and that
Right.
what they taught me I'm still applying
Mm-hmm.
is one of the most beautiful thing about growing up, I guess, because seeing your grandparents kind of age, it kind of makes you like think that like they're not going to be there forever, and like you have to make the best of what you have, like what time you have left with them.
Right. Exactly.
And recently they moved away, so they live in Maryland now, so they're across the US, so
Yeah.
I'm
same
probably
exact
not
thing.
going to see them until one of them passes or something like
Christmas
that.
time or something.
Yeah, if we decide to go over there.
Right.
Yeah. But we never
Exactly.
know. And my mom's side, they moved like a couple years ago
Mm-hmm.
down to California, and that's not that far, but it's still far for them because they're getting older and like
You
traveling's
gotta
harder.
make that trip.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think
Mhm.
that's a big deal. On that side, instead of like a memory of buying of them, it was more of them making stuff. So like my grandma loves to like cook, like usually every
Yeah.
Korean grandma,
Yeah.
and she made a lot of kimchi and all that stuff, and that's something that I'll remember. We always have New Year's, like our New Year's traditions at her house, so that's something I'll remember. But aside from that, grandparents in specific are cool. Like although like since we have a language barrier, because my Korean isn't that good,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
there was a little bit of a kind of awkward, like communication was awkward because
Right.
they wouldn't understand what I'm saying all the time,
Mhm.
and I wouldn't understand what they're saying some of the time. Because my listening skills for Korean is really good, but my speaking is terrible.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
pushing it out. Yeah, that's like how I am with my grandparents in Costa Rica. Almost all my immediate family on my mom's side is hard like that. Like I can understand all the Spanish. It's just hard to figure it out. I mean, some of their English is pretty good, but like, yeah, it's just something I wish well, that's what I'm taking in college now, Spanish. So when I do have the opportunity to go visit them again, it's gonna be
Good time.
better. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the whole idea of your grandparents, I think what's super valued and you should take away when you go visit them is their stories they tell you.
Yeah.
But
I want to,
right.
but at the same time, it's like there's like words that I'm just like, what is that? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So like
for
some
sure.
of the stories are gonna be kind of like that, like where I just kind of missing pieces. But yeah, I do want to kind of hear their story of like how they grew up, because my grandparents grew up like trash. Like they grew up like first gen, straight off the boat. Like they didn't have anything. They came here with nothing, and then they had to work from the bottom up.
Right.
But I'm coming from a standpoint where I'm already up,
You're
and I
at
have to
the
work
top.
higher to
Yeah.
a different kind of, expectation.
A different
I
kind
guess.
of grind. Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
So, their kind of grind mentality I kind of want, because they literally had a live or die mentality. Cause,
But you have to survive.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And the only way they could survive is if they worked till they literally wanted to die, right? So, you know, that's one thing I respect too, cause
for sure, yeah.
Adding on to the stories part, like, I have to get all my stories through my mom, because like I can't understand like what my grandmother's saying.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, like, my maternal grandfather, my mom's dad. He died before I was born, so I never got to see him.
Mm-hmm.
And then my paternal grandfather, my dad's dad, he died when I was like 5, and like they were living in New York, so I never really got to see him in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a connection with my grandfathers, and it's like weird because, you know, nowadays, my friends, more of their grandparents are dying, and they're like, so I never connected with that. So it's like I can only say I'm sorry for your loss, but I can't really like
relate to them.
Yeah,
for sure.
And also like I just saw my grandma, my dad's mom, like last week in New York, and like she doesn't speak English, but like I still try to talk to her. But she also low-key has like hearing problems. So like whenever I talk to her, she like ignores me, like unintentionally. So I'm like, so I like build up the courage to say something, and then she doesn't hear it. So it's like a waste. I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
But then like my mom's mom, she's pretty chill. She speaks Korean. I understand everything she says. She understands everything I say. It's good.
That's cool, cause, you know, I've always wanted to have a conversation with them, because my grandpa on my dad's side, he was a professional boxer in Korea.
Really?
Yeah. So like he was actually like, you know, kind of cool. Like he is cool, but
right.
I wouldn't know because I can't talk to him. Like I can't comfortably on my own talk to him, because I would have to talk through someone, whether it be my mom or, you know, my grandma or something. And, you know, I couldn't really get his story. And also, he's kind of health is...
Does he not know any English?
None.
Zero? All just Korean?
Yeah.
So then, yeah, for sure. Well, that's how my grandfather is on my mom's side.
All Spanish?
All Spanish.
Yeah.
So, like, I've had to talk through my uncle, and I could talk to him bits and pieces, and he knew some English, but it was really crappy, though. He has dementia, so like he doesn't remember a whole lot. He doesn't even remember my mom. So in that sense, it was really crappy, but it was nice to finally see, like, that's my grandfather. And it's weird. So like when my mom was adopted, so my grandfather, so it's really common in Costa Rican culture to have multiple like wives, you know, and partners throughout your lifetime. It's just a super hyper masculine society. And my grandmother, so my mom's mom, was the maid for my grandfather. She was like beautiful. So she, like, you know, cleaned the house and stuff and did all that. And so they had my uncle and then my mom, and then he realized what he'd done, because everything's about status there. And so that's when he kept my uncle and shipped my mom to Arizona, basically, to be adopted. And so I have a whole bunch of family that so I have the same grandmother but different grandfather, if that makes sense. So in that sense, it's like my grandmother died on my mom's side before I was born. And then so like when I got to meet my grandfather for the first time, it was like pretty incredible. And the dude's like mafioso, like very much like the dude is like one of the most successful people I've ever met in Costa Rica. Like his architecture is on their equivalent of the $5 bill. Like he was an architect.
She's a big boy.
Yeah, and like he ran for like office or something and in Costa Rica for some political position, and I think he had like someone killed. Like he put a hit on someone. Yeah. So like he's like super shitty, but it's just really cool to I finally got to meet him, and I can kind of like I can kind of relive my past time that I missed with him through my uncle, because my uncle like obviously knew him really well. So he could tell me all the stories that I wish I was able to hear from him. And yeah, so hopefully I get to go back. He's pushing like 90.
All of our grandparents are pushing, dog.
Yeah.
Like, my
So
parents are getting 90, 80?
yeah,
Something like that.
yeah. So he probably doesn't have a whole lot left in him, but yeah, you know, it's just nice to kind of, you know, just not relive, but try to reconnect in that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think a problem that I see other than language is like culture. Because they lived in a time where parents didn't really care about their kids too much. Like, they kind of just sent them on their own, and
it was almost like get you in, feed you, clothe you, and get you out. Yeah.
And that's how. Well,
so it was with my dad.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, they didn't have anything to give either.
True.
Other than.
Well, what do you constitute as like to give though? In what sense? Like.
I think a financial standpoint.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
They didn't have any for example, like for college. Like, my mom had to go off scholarships. Like, she couldn't like afford in her own like power to go to college. And my dad, he did a similar or a different completely different route.
Yeah.
So that's a little different, but my mom went to Whitman. She went to study or to go pre-med, and then she just majored in biochem.
Yeah.
And then she was like, I'm done. I hate studying. I'm done.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I know how she feels, because you know, I've been through the college grind, and I tried it out, and it wasn't for me. Like, it was.
Yeah.
It's so like different too, because like you go from high school to college immediately, and the gap is just like night and day.
Do you wish you'd taken like a gap year kind of thing, just to kind of figure everything out?
I wish I did running start or community college.
Okay, first.
Yeah. First, because
Get situated.
it's kind of like a middle step, like a
Exactly.
like an
Yeah.
in-between.
Right. No, I would totally agree. Colleges, but in so many ways, college is it's like a journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're starting off, you're on your own for your first time. You can make choices that, you know, your parents wouldn't say no. And it's super cliche to say that, but it actually makes a whole lot of sense. That you're on your own and you have to decide, you know, what kind of path and journey you're going on. And, you know, you may not know your first year. I mean, I changed my major 3 times. And I think I finally figured out the one I want to do, but yeah, when you go in there, it's pretty daunting, man. And you got to start off fresh. Like, you got to make new friends.
I mean,
you got to do all
we can
that.
like so let's kind of sidetrack a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
So like, we're gonna come back to the family topic,
Right?
but let's kind of talk about college.
You want to talk about college? Let's do it.
Because college is kind of, that's where the conversation is kind of going, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I wouldn't mind sharing my experience. Paul probably wouldn't either. And Brian's about to go to college, right? So I think he might be interested to see, you know, the full like uncut version of what happened.
Also, your path and mine are very, very different.
Yeah, for sure. So if you want to go first.
Yeah, I mean, I can start. Yeah, so I guess, well, I mean, you saw me kind of go through all that whole process throughout high school. You were there. Well, like, throughout my time, I was trying to figure out where I wanted to go. So I knew I wanted to combine soccer and college together. And around like sophomore and junior year, I was like so set on like, all right, soccer is going to be my only ticket to college, and that's all I'm going to do while I'm there. And then I realized that it's not going to, you can't pay your way through soccer through your whole life. I mean, some people are able to do it, but I was kind of interested in other aspects of college, you know, like studying and such. And somehow landed myself out in Minnesota to go to school. And that was probably one of the best decisions in many sense, because I was in a brand new environment, and it made me kind of have to work a little bit, you know, really make a go at what I had and figure out who I was as a person, first and foremost. Also, what I like to do. And that's such a thing that is hard to figure out. And what you're passionate about and what you're good at. So, Brian, I think for you, if you want, you may not know now. I mean, it took me to my, so like I'll be taking, and I'm gonna be a fifth year, 5 years, to finish, because I'm jumping into a different major.
Oh, okay.
So and the thing is it's college is so cool because you get that opportunity to figure out what you want to do, and once you love something and you're passionate about something, everything else comes with it.
Yeah, I'm just tripping because like my dad.
Yeah.
He grew up poor, so like he had to go to school,
Right.
in order to like now he's a physician. So like what is it? So like he's a pretty smart dude. He loves to read. He literally like read everything growing up, and then majors in biochemistry, goes to med school and then residency. It's like when I see that, it's like, oh my god, do I have like the potential to live up to that, right? So it's like,
yeah, well, you shouldn't. I don't think you should.
It's also
focus on what, you know what I mean, like what your dad did, right? Granted, like it's incredible that he did all that, but you also got to find out what you're passionate about. I feel like there's two divides. Like you're able to choose a path you want to go on, whereas some other people might have that choice, right? So I know some guys are in college and they have to pick the hardest major that has the best payout after, because financially they have to do that.
It's funny because like my dad's brother.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he finished high school, really. And then like he became like an entrepreneur, and then he like got into like real estate and like sales and stuff like that.
Yeah, good for him.
And
yeah,
then,
everyone
literally like my uncle is like better off than my dad, even though he didn't go to school.
Sure.
So it's like it gives me hope, I guess, but it's also a matter of like motivation because like we're pretty well off. Like we have a house. I don't have to worry about anything. Like my dad pays for school too, so it's like
Is he paying for your college?
Yeah.
Okay.
He pays for high school because
Right.
I bet on him. Like. Yeah. So it makes me wonder, like, when I have kids, like, what's gonna happen? Like, can I even have kids? Like.
Don't. Like I'm gonna tell you right now.
Like I'm just tripping.
Yeah. No. Don't freak out too much. And I know, like, because I definitely freaked out about that. I freaked out about, like, my path, I started off as pre-med, or actually pre-dental when I came in at St. John's, the school. Yeah, just like you, pre-dental. And I realized, like, that's just not, I just wouldn't be happy, So I changed to economics, realized that wasn't for me. So now I'm finally landed on psychology, and I want to incorporate that into something called neuromarketing, which is the link between design and how the brain works, and I find it super interesting. Granted, I don't have that major at my school, but I do have psychology, so in that sense, I'm kind of taking a leap of faith, and I don't have like a set goal at the end or like a set career. Yeah. I don't, and I think you kind of have to be unsure. There's no, in life, you can't go about saying, okay, this is what I'm going to be like in 30 years, and I know what I'm going to be like. You kind of just have to almost take that leap of faith and say, okay, well, I'm passionate about this, so I'm really good at these. I have these different strengths. And once those all come together, then I'll be successful. So I wouldn't say get worried too much about what you are going to be like, or what after your 4 years or 5 years, however long it takes, just focus, almost take it like one day at a time first, and just kind of get slowly introduced into your life of college and everything that comes with it, in classes and all that stuff.
It looks fun, bro.
Yeah, in many aspects it is fun. It's also scary and a journey. I just think it's such a journey. Exactly. And you shouldn't. Again, I would pick something that you truly enjoy. Granted, if your dad has a say and wants you to only major in this,
Mm-hmm.
then that's cool. But you should definitely talk to him about what you find interesting. And if you don't find anything interesting right now, then that's all good. You can take as many years as you want to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky. Like, I applied to the schools I wanted to apply to.
Mhm.
You know, he didn't really force me to do anything he
Right.
wanted. You know, like, my dream job, right?
Yeah.
General manager of a major league organization, right?
That would be a GM.
Chances are that's not gonna happen. But like, you know, sports analytics seems really cool because, you know, I watch sports in the first place.
Right.
It's like, what, you know, like, that's what I would like to go into.
Data analytics. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a good.
so,
It's a
like,
good path.
I chose like economics first because
Uh-huh.
like that was the closest thing.
Mm.
So
Well,
you know,
yeah. But I wouldn't necessarily choose economics for you, per se.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good major. Don't get me wrong, but
I might even like not even fuck with sports analytics. Like,
yeah,
years
you
from now.
you never know.
but
But
it was a basic choice, safe, I guess.
sure, and you have the liberty to choose.
Yeah.
Depending on where you go, you have all the liberty to choice. I mean, Ethan, you chose. You know,
Right.
you knew that Western wasn't
Yeah.
your
I
path.
mean, I could touch it. I'm gonna talk a little bit about that
Yeah.
because our experiences with college were literally completely opposite, right? Kind of. So you kind of found your group, found your friends, and kind of
Yeah.
You like college, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. College is it's a good place. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I respect the people that find their way and
Mhm.
enjoy college.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it wasn't it. It just wasn't it.
Yeah.
It wasn't the fact that like I didn't succeed in my classes or I didn't have like anybody there. It was more like a combination of everything just piling on, and it was like me at the bottom of a pig pile
Mm.
and everybody on top of me.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally like 100 people on top of me.
Mm-hmm.
So like what happened was, at the end of high school, we all applied to colleges and we all like looked at whatever we thought would fit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I went to school, like Paul said, thinking I was gonna become a dentist, right? And I didn't know what that entailed. I was just like, you get to poke at people's gums and tell them they need much more.
And you saw the payout.
Right. And, back then, it was all about the money. Like, I didn't care if, I don't know if I told you, but a lot of times I would just be like, I don't care about how bad the job is. Like, I just want money. And, like, it was so, like, money focused. And, over time, you kind of start to change a little bit and realize, it really isn't about the money.
Mm-mm.
Whatever you find interesting, the money will come after.
Right. Exactly.
And, that's something you got to realize sooner than later because, for me,
right.
going through college, I hated college. I hated it so much that, I'm at the point where I just dropped out. Like, I was just like, no more. I don't want to do this. I gave the school a try. I gave the curriculum a try, and, I failed in both. But what I took away from that is that I grew as a person myself.
Right.
I grew to know myself better and know what I'm capable of doing and, kind of narrowing it down to what I want to potentially do.
Right.
And, I'm at the point where I kind of found where I want to be and what I want to do, which is dental hygiene.
Mm-hmm.
But it's for a different reason now. So my reason is the fact that I want to help people, but also have enough to where I get to spend more time with my family and friends.
Right.
So, I value my friends and family more than I value my career.
Right.
And, I'm not saying that I hate my career because my career is going to help me, support my family. And it's also going to help me, it's going to give me the opportunity to help other people. Like, for example, like, our church goes on mission trips, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where sometimes the medical team will go
Mm-hmm.
and, I can go help out. Like, I can go help people in places that need help, right? Because, in third world countries, they don't have people that can brush their teeth or like
No.
people that know about dental hygiene.
Right.
I mean, they do, but they're like other missionaries, right?
Right.
So, in that aspect, I kind of like that I can help in the medical scene.
Opportunity.
Right. And it opens me to talk to other people. So that's another thing I realized in college was I need human interaction. I need to see people, talk to people, or else I'll become depressed. And I'll just like sit in my room and literally just want to die. And that's not a healthy place to be. And, so like moving on from that, like I'm in a situation where, I'm blessed. Like I have a family that can support my mistakes. No matter what happens, they are willing to support me. They are willing to be there for me. And, that's just something that, not everybody gets. And that's something that, as a parent, I want to kind of live up to that. Where I want to support my kids in whatever direction they go. And no matter what happens, if they fall, I just help them get back up. You know? And that's like one of the, the most touching parts, for me is because, my dad growing up, he wasn't around very much.
Yeah.
He was very busy making money to support our family.
Sure.
And, it took me a while for me to understand why he did it. But now I'm at an age where I finally understand his purpose. It's because he enjoys it. He genuinely enjoys what he does.
Yeah.
Although, see, that's the thing about jobs. You're not going to like every aspect about what job you do. There's always going to be something that bothers you or something that you don't like. But, at the end of the day, if it's something that you are passionate about, like he is with his job, then who cares? Who cares what anybody says about what you do? Like, you do what you do because you love doing it. And what are people going to say? Why are you doing your job because you love it? Like, what kind of statement is that, right?
If you do your job, no one will get mad at you.
Right. So that's my thing, like.
What does he do again? I forgot. Like
he's a creative director of like a tile company or like a
tile company,
like a design is that? It's like a tile design company or something.
Really?
So like on like granite tables or something like that.
All I know is he designs the showrooms for the business.
Oh.
And like he helps out at shows and stuff where they're showing off the products and stuff.
Yeah.
Does he like know art like well?
Yeah, like he has to do like all the architecture stuff, like the scaling and stuff.
So okay.
Like those blueprint stuff. Like
so you gotta be pretty good if you're like your hands and like
right
and shit like that.
I mean, he's always been like he went to art school. Like he didn't go to a. Actually, I think he did. I think he went to Evergreen for a little bit, but I don't. I never really talked to him about his education, but he said he went to Seattle Art Institute, and he's doing fine. He like as anybody that's close to me can tell, like we're not struggling by any means,
right? Right.
And that's because of his sacrifice, and it's like that's one thing that I respect about my dad a lot.
Would you do it if you would do it differently as a parent?
As a parent,
would you take that sacrifice and go in the same path as your dad, as not seeing your kids as much, or would you rather take the sacrifice, or you know what I mean? Like, how would you go about it differently if you
personally
didn't have the choice?
I think that family is number one for me. I don't think my job or anything like that will ever kind of pass my family. Like, if that's one requirement for the job, then it's not for me. Because I think family in my life is very important. And, kind of relationships and friends and stuff. And, like, without that, I don't think I could function.
Right.
So, for me, I don't think I could do it. I mean, I'm not saying that he can do it either. Because, he struggles a lot with, how much he misses us and how much he's gone. And, there's that. But... it for him, he enjoys it a lot. So there's nothing we can say other than to support him. And I support him 100%, 100 billion% every day. I might not have said it in the past because I didn't understand in the past. Because as a kid growing up, you're just like, why is my dad always gone? You don't actually think about what he's doing or why he's doing it.
Exactly.
While he's gone.
Yeah. Right. So there's no reason to kind of, be mad or anything about that because, it's a sacrifice at the end of the day, right? If it comes down to that where I have to sacrifice that for my family, then of course. Yeah. And I think that's probably where he's at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think he wants to be away from us, right? Because no one wants to be away from their family. Right?
Yeah, right.
That'd be a last resort kind of thing.
Right, yeah. It would be kind of the last resort for me, personally.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, you know, speaking on that, my dad's dad, so my grandfather who lives in Connecticut. So when my dad was growing up, so he was the oldest, right? So he had to do all the, you know, chores around the house, all that stuff. So he has two younger brothers, and my dad was telling me up until around like age 13, he had a really good relationship with his dad, so my grandfather, and then there was like a disconnect when he started getting his teenage years, and he still has a battle with that today, you know, of that relationship. Obviously, like, he wasn't gone, but it was still the idea that, like, what's a son's what's a son's obligation to his father and vice versa? Like, what's your obligation to your dad? And I think my relationship with my dad is almost unique in the sense that I have him as, like, a father and then almost like dad, right? So you have father for disciplinary issues, you know, all the actions, like, all right, I need to do this. And then dad as in your dad who can...
A comforting kind of individual.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we'll play sports with you, we'll joke around with you, you know, slip you a beer or whatever when you're 16, and, you know, whatever it is, right? And I think moving on at least for me, as a parent, I need to have both those characteristics and not just father, because unfortunately that's what my dad experienced, was just father. A lot of like, why are you doing this? You need to do that. He was like my dad was really pissed off, and he looks back on it and he wishes he had you know, made like an action to make a relationship, you know? But then again, I feel like as a father, when you do become a parent, you need to be that father for whoever, you know, boy or girl, whoever it is. Be the father and the dad together.
The balance.
Exactly, you need the balance.
That's the same thing that happened to my uncle, my dad's brother.
Yeah.
So my grandpa, he was like in the military, Korean military.
My grandfather was in the military too.
And then they moved over to Maryland, I think, when my dad was growing up. So they like ran a store and shit like that. And then my uncle, he's the oldest. He also like had issues with his dad because of like financial problems, and like he was like restricted in what he wanted to do. You know, they really couldn't go to college or anything like that. So like they like had fights and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then like his mom was involved, my grandma, and like even like right now they're like, there's not like beef, but like there's like subtle tension that like still goes on today just because of what happened in the past. So like it makes me think different of my dad, because he's the middle child, and like what he had to go through.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like how he treats me, and like how I'll have to treat my kids. Yeah, like shit happens. So it's like, what can I do to avoid that, I guess?
Right. Yeah, for sure. Maybe not so much like avoiding or just taking. Well, that's the thing. What's cool, right, is you can pull pieces together from what you have experienced and what your dad or grandfather has told you about their parents, and almost curate the best possible path for your own child.
That's so interesting how we have so much similarities with our parents, because my dad is the same way. My dad was he was the younger son, but his relationship with his dad is like kind of garbage. Like, you know, while he was here, I feel like my dad made an active effort to go see him, but it was so awkward because he would go see him, but they wouldn't talk.
Yeah,
like
right.
There was like this coldness in the room, and or not really cold. I think it was more like awkward.
Yeah,
like they didn't know how to communicate with each other, and like I feel like with my dad, like me and my dad's relationship is very comfortable, or at least for me it is. I think maybe he feels a little uncomfortable.
Sure, but
I feel totally open to share whatever he wants to talk about. But I think it's starting that conversation is what's awkward. I think if they, started a conversation together, I think they would have no problem. But the problem is the start. Like they have never, from what I've seen, their conversations have been very like short and sweet. Like, how are you doing? Are you doing well at work? Is your boss still the same boss? And then that's it.
Right. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
short and sweet.
You know.
I feel like immigrant parents, they like lack the ability to like communicate and like give off like affectionate vibes. I feel
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it's just like,
It's because they didn't grow up knowing that. So like, you know how like there's that, that kind of stereotype where Koreans don't tell their kids that they love them.
yeah, like you love them different ways.
Right.
Like,
By
giving
like
them food. You literally giving them
right.
food. That's like the way of saying I love you.
that through yeah.
That's-
So like what we talked about.
Right,
Through the
right.
food you love them and you show them how much you love them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like, just because you don't say it doesn't mean that it's not there, And so they grow up with that. And so that's why I think their relationship is not very vocal. It's more like an action based. So like they show their love.
Mhm.
It's not they talk about their love. And I mean that's just a different culture,
Yeah.
but
It's just way.
I think it's the same. It's the same it means the same when someone says I love you rather than showing that they love them.
Right.
So, that's how I think about that. It's awkward because they probably grow up, or at least for my family, that they grow up with a respect thing. Your dad is your dad, and he's not your
Authority.
friend. He's not your friend. He's your
Yeah.
dad.
Right.
And
That's
you respect him.
That's what I'm getting at. Is
Right.
that's how my grandfather and my dad had their relationship.
Yeah, and then
And
they
it-
grow up like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so now my dad's going back and trying to figure out, or not even figure it out, but try to miss for the years that they could have
Yeah,
had.
make up time.
Make
right.
up time almost, yeah. And I think as my relationship with my dad is so much
Different.
different, yeah, in that sense. As in he's, yeah, I know he's my dad, but in many sense he's my friend, like my advisor. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I mean, Brian, that's why I chose to do economics, because of my dad.
Is he into that? Economics?
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's into all of that, and I thought that doing that would, please him.
Yeah. Oh.
And-
like that. Okay.
And in that sense, it really did not. And also, like, that's also something that, and we're tying it all together with college and family. My grandparents and my parents' expectations for me were totally different. Obviously, my mom was like, you can choose whatever you want to do, whatever you're passionate about, we'll help you through it. Dad and grandparents, not so much. Grandparents wanted me to do something that would allow me to be successful.
Amount to something.
Exactly. It was either business, economics, or math. Those are the three I had, or a pre path, like pre-dental, pre-law, whatever that was.
Yeah.
And when I was there visiting, I told my grandparents that I was changing my major to, psychology, and minoring in Spanish. They like freaked out. It looked like they got shot. Like,
What the hell?
yeah, they're like, really? You're doing that? Like, you're now gonna be a dropout and you're gonna
Oh, that's what they think.
be
'Cause
poor.
Like,
Yeah, and
the humanities are like, humanities is like worthless. I'm like, it's really not.
exactly, and so, in that sense, I picked that because I wanted to, please my parents, and then I realized that you can kind of do that, but really you won't be happy, and so I changed, and I feel you really feel better, like
It's a burden
in
off you.
all aspects, and you're excited to learn, and I'm finally excited for one semester at college. So much I was just not like scared, but just
Dead.
Tiring, right?
yeah, and I felt like I was just going through the motions. I wasn't seeking out new opportunities or new ideas to explore and really curate into something I really enjoyed. So in that sense, as a parent, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how anyone listening experiences are different, but I'm sure parents play a huge role in how you pick your major
For sure.
and what you decide to do.
For sure. I mean, for me, it's like this. It's like I said, like I'm so blessed because
Yeah,
my
right.
parents, they don't care. They don't care what I do. They just want me to love what I do. And, you know, that's it. Like, what can I do? Like, other than that, if that'll make them happy, that'll make me happy, then it's easy, right?
Yeah.
I'm not forced to an expectation where I have to hold, oh, you have to be a surgeon, you have to be a doctor, or you have to be some kind of lawyer or something. I'm not held to that expectation that most Koreans are. And it's like, you know, like, that's just, like, crazy that, you know, I'm so, like, I can go anywhere. I can go anywhere I want. And, you know, I don't have to worry about cost. I don't have to worry about, you know, where, like, how long it takes. Like, I can literally do what I want to do.
Right.
And, you know, of course, it's not, like, a free thing where I have no, like, time restraint. Like, I have a time restraint. Like, I can't be in school forever. Like, I can't find what I want to do forever. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I hear what you're saying. Right.
Like, I don't have to go to, like, I have to finish something. I have to finish something, at least one thing, right? By some time, right? I can't just, like, not do anything and just go and taste everything, right? It's not So, you know,
for sure.
I finally found something that I think will be very interesting to me, and, you know, I'm gonna pursue that for now. But, you know, who knows? In the future, maybe things will change, or, you know, maybe it does happen.
Yeah, we talked earlier. You might find a new
I might
path,
something right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't have to limit yourself. Yeah, Brian. So in that sense, you know, as someone who's deciding or, you know, picking what college to go to, my best advice is pick somewhere where if your major that you don't like doesn't end up working out for you and you absolutely hate it, pick somewhere where you have the opportunity to find another path, really.
Yeah, low-key, what do you call it? Chapman. So I applied to Chapman. I got in with some money, too. And, like, so they have a school of business and economics. Right, but they also have a film school, law school, and, like arts and sciences or whatever.
Sure.
So that's why I applied in the first place, because no one really knows Chapman from here. Like, my dad was like, when we were visiting, he's like, what the hell is Chapman? And he's like, why do you want to go visit? I'm like, I don't really know why I wanted to visit, but I knew they had a lot of schools, so it's like, it was like a wild card. Like, literally applying there was like, shit, I don't know if I'm gonna get in or not, but I'm just gonna do it anyways.
Right.
Because
because there's so many different areas and
yeah,
that
like
they provide
like,
and give you the opportunity to go explore. Yeah.
That's literally why I applied. And it's looking like, so it was an early action school, so I got it pretty early. The result back really early. So like now it looks like it's the move, low key. If UW doesn't work out, then like Chapman might be the move, like, because I'm incentivized to go there. Prime location in Southern California. There's a lot of opportunities to do something.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think you can survive there?
Like,
from a like an academic and also a social standpoint, because for me, I thought that I can succeed at Western, and that wasn't the case in either aspect.
Oh, okay.
So like that's something you got to think about too. Is that, you know, are you you know, I can tell that, you know, socially you are okay because you have no problem making friends. You've moved from Bellevue to Bellarmine to Tacoma, whatever, and, you know, you've moved around, and, you know, you don't keep the same friends, or maybe some, but, like, you know, it's a new school every time.
I'm able
right?
to,
but you're able to find a friend group, right?
Yeah.
So I have no problem. Like, I believe that you will have no problem in the social standpoint, but from an academic standpoint,
it's gonna be hard as fuck. Like, not
the schooling itself, like the studying and everything is, you're gonna realize that it's a lot different. Like how you study and like how long you study, it'll all change, right?
Like,
and like, are you ready for that?
Like, I don't know. Like high school right now, it's getting kind of tough. Like first semester of senior year, because like people are like, oh, senior year is the easiest, right? And I'm like, no, it's not. And then like seeing Sarah, my older sister, she's at UW. She's a pretty good high school student. And then she got to college is like way different. And then she's like junior year, she didn't even know what her major was, and she was like fucking shit up everywhere. And then like she took some summer courses too, and now she's finally on track. So like hopefully I don't be like that, or like, you know, I'm worrying my parents. But like
It's okay. I mean,
I think it's gonna be really hard. It's
Yeah,
gonna
but
be tough. It's
Yeah,
gonna-
but it's okay to do that though.
everybody
Yeah.
does it.
Yeah.
Literally
Yeah.
everybody that goes to college. I don't know anybody that doesn't struggle in any aspect. Like, if you go to college and you're just succeeding in everything, it's just like you're Jesus. Like, there's no way.
yeah.
Or it's not the right fit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
There's something that's not fitting.
Right. There's something that either you're not facing yourself or whatever, you know. I don't know. What do you think, Ethan? Do you think? I would not worry too much about
for sure.
graduating. Like, you know what I mean? Obviously, you have to graduate,
High
but
school. Yeah.
Graduating on time is ridiculous. Like, it's actually so hard. Because, you know, not only do people switch their majors like every day, the other
Requirements
thing
are
is
different, right?
classes are difficult. So, like, you know, you're not going to, realistically, you're not going to pass every class.
Yeah.
Like, if you pass every class, then, you know, it's going to be, like, by the
Percent.
C whatever range. But
Yeah.
from my experience and from what I've seen through other people is that college is hard. Like, it is hard.
yeah, you have to really put your
And, like, if you're
nose
going to
to the ground
graduate
and
on
grind.
time,
Yeah.
like, you have to work.
Well, I mean, you do, but it's not necessarily graduating on time. Like, don't think that this is
Oh, yeah. I'm
your
not saying
opportunity
that.
to, like, you get in, you pick something, and you get out as quick as possible. Like, some people, that's their opinion, but it's a chance for you to figure out what you want to do and what you're passionate about. And, you know, whether that takes you 4 years or 5 years, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm
6?
probably, 6,
Really?
whatever, yeah. I mean,
Whatever.
I'm taking an extra semester because I'm jumping into a major kind of late.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm excited, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with staying an extra semester. You know, obviously it's going to cost me a little bit, but it's going to be well worth it in the end, you know?
Yeah, I think it's good going to Bellarmine. Like, for some context, like, after sophomore, like, middle of sophomore year, I was like, fuck this shit. I don't want to go here anymore.
Mm.
But I just, like, sucked it up, and I just went. And then, like, I realized it was a good choice to stay.
Right.
Because not only, like, you know, you keep the same friends or whatever,
Mhm.
but it's a college prep school, which at first I was like, what's the difference between this and going to public school?
Mm.
And I realized, like, the different ways to, like, prepare your students is, like, there's so much variety. Like,
Right.
taking these math classes or, like, science classes.
You
I
can
realized-
explore a little bit.
I was like, maybe it's not for me or whatever. Like,
Sure.
I took computer science last year. I was like, I don't know any of this. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
like, my cousin, he's, like, a computer science major.
Yeah,
Or, like, I'm not even taking a science course this year.
sure.
Because I'm not going to pre-med like my dad or anything like
Right.
that. So it's like, at least I know, or at least I have very basic knowledge of what I want to do and,
Mhm.
like, what I don't want to do, I guess.
Hmm.
That's, yeah.
Yeah, well, you don't have to, in that sense, figure it all out now. I mean, it took me a while to figure it out, but I finally did, you know, and
Yeah.
then and that's great, you know. Take a short break.
63 minutes.
Do you guys want a break?
Yeah, let's take a short break. All right, we'll be back talking about more college experience.